All right, man. Back up in this thing. Finna go and close it on that. All right. Now, I'll run through it one more time. Take it from the top. Which I got a gem I want to share with y'all anyway. Well, I got to go back to the top anyway. So, now you remember in the Bible it say God caused a deep sleep to come over Adam. And he took the rib out of Adam and made Eve, right? Well, I'm gonna show you what that really means. Where that come from. See, first of all, what you got to understand about the Bible. The Bible is really a book of astrology and in code, in so many words. The Old Testament, I'm willing, if you do a lot of if you trace a lot of their symbolism, it'll take you, in so many words, what I said like this. Judaism or the Old Testament, it's like a lunar cult or a lunar thing. So a lot of the symbolism with Moses and all the Old Testament is really moon symbolism. And then the New Testament would be solar. You know, with the Christ, the soul, the sun, yada 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 yada. Now they say God removed the rib from Adam and made Eve. Well, this is where it comes from. This is where that comes from. Remember I told y'all this. While this is up here active and working, all this is down here resting. This is Osiris of the resting in the mental. It's called Osiris of the resting heart. So, remember what I told you. You got the 7 down here with the 1 right here. And this one went up and left behind and stopped right here and left them 7 behind for these 7 to come and fill those spots up. But while the energy was going this traveling this way and traveling this way to make its way up or seep out the sides, remember I told you it was pushing up and it was pushing the mountains up. Well, this would be Adam or Osiris. This would be the feminine or Eve. When these was coming down, it was pushing the mountains up, causing mountains on each side of the cross. Or really all the way around, but cut right there. So you got the mountains on each side. Now that's one way of looking at it. Those are the ribs. These are the ribs or whatever. But when that process was taking place, remember what I told you was going on up here? That that melanin that was residing in the dark waters, when the light started to rise up, when the light came through there and started to rise up through here and spill out to the circumference, that's where you get in the Bible where it say God separated the light waters from the dark waters. So the water began to rise out the melanin following the light coming out is rising up the surface, or if we look at it, if we was to look at it like this and see the water coming up, it look like it's coming out of the side of this. But anyway, all that water went up. Remember what I told you, when all the energy left out the center of the earth, this froze. So that's another aspect of what they mean when they say God took a rib from out of Adam and made Eve. Even when you look at it this way, rib. Because at first, remember, this was flat. It was just a flat corn. Then the melanin came down here and created that, and then this pushed up and created the moon. So that's where that came from. And when you look at when you look at what do they call a rabbi? I mean a Jewish teacher, a rabbi. Now, one thing I've come to notice that when you're dealing with a lot of ancient words, you can sometimes you can interchange the vowels. The vowels are interchangeable. So you might have for example, when I was telling you about the word he-tip, you got ho-tip and you got he-tip. Some people say ho-tip. Most people, you don't hear people saying he-tip. You know, conscious people today, you hear them saying ho-tip. But in the book, it say he-tip. A-E-I-O-N-U. All vowels. So ho-tip, he-tip, they both mean the same thing, peace or whatever. It's just one spelled with an E, one spelled with an O. Now, when you look at the word rabbi, if you take the A and replace it with a I, you have rib-ba. Rib is a rib. What does ba mean? Ba means two. Two ribs. So yeah, I thought that was interesting enough to note and put that in there. So since we there, we'll take it from the top again. You know, all this light when I from the circumference, and when I created the 7 orbits and the 12 zodiacs. There's another thing too. We know that these went out and created the 7 orbits, but as we know, the 7 orbits, everything, the Earth and all the planets travel around the sun in an oblong shape, or like an oval shape. So it's not a straight circle around it. It's everything is on a tilt, and it's like an oval type shape or whatever. So the orbits sit slanted or tilted, just like the Earth tilts on its axis. The orbits sit on a tilt. I was trying to figure out how in the hell would that happen? Did they shoot out and then tilt on their own? And I came up with another explanation, which is, now I'm breaking this shit all down in slow motion, but really, it's like they said in the Revelations, I think, a twinkle of an eye. Oh, this shit happened like within the twinkle of an eye. So what I think ended up happening was, when all that light finally was drew up here and caused that lightning to strike, that happened at the same time this light was shooting out to create the orbits. So when the lightning struck, it probably struck the mountains down here on this side, pushed that down, which caused this side to go up, and then that's when the light from right here shot out and created the 7 orbits of the planet. And because if it you know, so it'd be like boom, and when it did, as soon as it hit that, it tilted and everything went out. So it caused the orbits to go out at a tilt. And then the lightning struck here, pushed that down or whatever, and the sun came down and whatnot. And when the sun came through, you know, the moon was a dome of ice. So when the sun came through, of course, it caused rain, it caused snow, sleet, hail, and then eventually rain as the sun was shooting down, and then boom, hit that right there. Now this is where the Maya thing comes from. I think I forgot to tell y'all the last one, so I think I kind of went off. But the 42 laws of Maya. This would be the underworld right here. So you go to the underworld and get your heart weighed to see if it's lighter than a feather or whatnot. And that's where you go and deal with the 42 laws of Maya. Well, go back to number 42. You have, let me see, you got, let me see, it's 7. Okay, yeah. You got your 5. 7, 7, 7, 7. That's 28. And then you got these 7. That's 35. Then you got these 7 down here, which is the underworld, which is where they say you go and get your heart weighed to see if it's light as a feather after dealing with the 42 laws of Maya. These 7 added to that 35 will be 42. So that's the correspondence with the 42 thing, these last 7 down here. So you're dealing with the HarMaKhu, the HarTema and the HarMaKhu. I already broke all that down. So sun shoot down, boom. Now, like I was saying, this is where you get your whole they say Jacob wrestled with the angel until he seen daybreak or pineal. Alright. What I told you was happening when the sun started traveling down here. When the sun hit here, it enters the earth. You got the sun coming down inside the earth and the earth going up. The earth moving up. So that's the sun would be the angel. This is Jacob. Jacob's ladder. So while the sun is going down, the earth is moving up, and the sun is meeting with all the chakras as it goes down. But the earth is steady moving up. They say Jacob wrestled with the angel until he saw daybreak or pineal. Now watch this. Hold that thought. And like I was saying, as the sun passed through here and the earth went up, each one of these went up and shot out, and all the contents within them shot out throughout the earth. And then the first 3, or maybe first 4, but the first 3, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, damn, are the planets in the orbits actually physical planets, or are they orbs? And one thing I know, 2 things for sure. I'll show you right now. But anyway, we'll just say for sake of argument, we'll just say each one of these went out. You'll hear about I can't remember what mythology that was when they were saying how the mythological figure cut the heads off, or cut his head off to mingle his blood with the earth or whatever. But that's talking about these. Each one of these go up, and once they shoot out, it's like cutting the head off, because these come out and then they mingle their contents, or they spread their content all over the earth or whatever. Now that third one was and these the higher chakras, so a lot of this shit is probably ethereal too, or whatever, spiritual, whatnot. And then the one under the earth, under the heart, probably more of a physical nature or whatnot. But the third one, the shootout, because remember I told you, each one of these shoot out in them orbits that came out. Each one of these shot into their own orbit or whatever, as well as mingled their content with the planet. That's why I say we have all the planets out there in space. We have the content of all of them within Earth or whatever. So the one that go into the third orbit would be the throat chakra or whatnot. Now, that chakra, or that orb going into its orbit, is important at the time, because that's where that's the same orbit the Earth is going to float into or whatever. Now, when we're dealing with the third chakra, what we dealing with? Dealing with the throat, the voice, the holy word. What they said, in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God, or whatever. God called things into existence, la 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 la. Now, let me pull out my scholarship. Something told me to, something told me to go read up on the throat chakra, and this little book I got, and see what I find out. So when I was looking at the third chakra, I'm like, okay, well, that's where the Earth is going. So if it's an orb out there, then in orbit, it has to be a ethereal orb. And when I say ethereal, etheric, basically just saying, like the Earth is a physical body, or your body is physical. Ethereal or etheric would be like a ghost, or seeing it'd be ghostly like, or whatever. It'd be like seeing a ghost or whatnot. So I'm gonna show you how all this shit came together. I got Eastern body, Western mind, psychology, and the chakra system as a path to the self. So I came over with all that, and then I picked this up. And the first thing it said is, as we enter the etheric level of the throat chakra. It said, bingo, right there. We enter a paradoxical realm of great, subtly yet powerful influence. We leave behind the balanced middle ground of the green ray and reach into the etheric range of turquoise and blue that resonate with the throat chakra. The enveloping element of air still surrounds us, yet we reach beyond it into the unknown ether, the realm of vibration, sound, communication, and creativity. Now, get a book called Kundalini Rising. That's why I found out about how the sperm deposits the black seed, and the spine unfolds from out of the black seed or whatnot, and then everything grows around that. But in that same book, when it was describing that process of a fetus coming into play, that's how they described it. They say it's like the when your body is being shaped, it's like it's the vibrate, it's like it's dancing into existence or whatever. And then we'll go over here to some Indian Sanskrit mythology, Indian All sounds known through Sanskrit alphabet are identified as the vocables sprung from the cosmic drum of Shiva, of creation itself. Sound is the paradigm of creation. In its dissolution is reabsorption into the source. Okay, so hold that thought. We're gonna travel a little bit. Now that third orbit goes to the third orbit, which would be, I'm just using this as an example because you can, but actually, you know, the orbit would be on the outside of the earth or whatever. This is still the inside of the earth. Inside of the earth. But remember, these are, when this came down, when the lightning struck this part and it tilted this way, that's when the sun came and boom. So when the sun was traveling down here, it kept it bent this way. So the sun's going down, the earth's coming up. They say Jacob wrestled with the angel until he seen what? Daybreak or pineal. Well, when the sun and the root chakra finally meet, the earth is lifted up so high to where the root chakra and the sun meet right here where the pineal gland of the earth used to be. So now the pineal gland will be up here somewhere because the earth is lifted. But they meet right there. He saw daybreak or pineal, meaning he's in that position where the pineal once was. The sun is, and then of course the Mars. Well, like I was saying, when the root chakra and the sun meet right there, that's another one. I should have kept that page in that book. But it was talking about the cutting out the head to mingle the blood with the with everything on the surface or whatever, to give everything the lifeblood. Well, the root chakra and the sun meet right here. That's where the mother blood comes from. When the sun comes down and hit this, I think these are in here are all the leader souls or the top souls that when the sun busts down here and open that up, all the souls of the leaders, the ones that's gonna teach and lead the way and cultivate the earth or whatever, and show people what they tell you Osiris did when you read about it. They tell you he went all around the world and taught people how to cultivate land and basically taught the liberal arts and woo. And then you had souls that probably came out of here that's bust up, because remember they got the little these chocolate these melanin mounds have sparks of light on top of them. So them are souls, but these are the top souls. So they came, and then you have souls they came from these right here that follow the head or whatever. And then when this one got right there, Mars, the red planet, or the root chakra, that's why they say the man came last, because that blood is the mother blood. That's the blood that you have the soul, the sparks of life that was already in the body or whatever. Now, like I told you, either these was all the souls. I think these were the top souls or whatever. But in any event, once the mother blood splashed up here, and everybody partook of that, now you got life blood. The physical body has what it finally has. It has the final thing, the final touch that it needed in order to operate. So what we dealing with? We're dealing with the earth. We're dealing with the sun and the root chakra meeting right here, which means that the bottom of the earth will be sitting right here. Now, since it lifted up, and the sun the earth will be sitting on top of the sun, getting ready to give birth to it or release it and go off into its orbit or whatever. And when it goes off into its orbit, it has its back towards the sun, floating off into its orbit. But by the time it gets to its orbit, its eastern axis, as soon as it hits its orbit, its eastern axis is tilted and turns towards the sun, which is the sunrise, which causes the sun to rise or seemingly rise across the sky. Jacob wrestled with the angel till he saw pineal gland or pineal. The position where the pineal was one set, where the sun and the root chakra met, with the earth sitting on top. Or that's where you get your the overthrow of Apap. Apap is just the great mother of the earth. The overthrow is just the sun throwing it off his back, or the earth floating off the back of floating off the sun to go into its own to go off into its own orbit or whatever. So when they say seen pineal, they talking about when everything meet right here. When they talk about the daybreak, they talking about when the earth shoots off the sun and goes into its orbit. Now let's go back to the throat chakra thing. And let me go ahead and switch. Put this new joint up. It's already 26 minutes. And this shit here's interesting right here because some spiritual shit happened when I drew this. And which I was not trying to do, but I'll show y'all in a second. It just happened like this. Struggling in bed. Come up right. I hope y'all can see that shit. I'm gonna zero in on this here. All right, so now I drew a rough sketch of the sun being blasted off on its way to its orbit. Now, the sun is the third rock from, they should call it the third rock from, the earth is the third rock from the sun, right? So the orbit that the earth is going to already has a orb, a blue orb right here from when this shot out and went in the orbit. Now, get up in this ancient Egypt light of the world real quick. It says, as we have previously seen in book 4, the Osiris deceased is reconstituted for the life hereafter by the blending of his 7 souls, which correspond to the 7 souls of Ra, which is the sun. Remember, they all went up and blended and created the sun. And when he has become a spirit by the 7 being put together as at last in likeness of the Ka, it is said to him, the perfect soul, O Nefer Uben F, triumph, hath the power of speech. Speech, excuse me, speech was the property of the perfect soul, that is, the highest of the seven souls, which was consequently human. The Chinese also have the very ancient six honored ones, or six Sung. The Zuni Indians adored the six powers that preceded the seven in the likeness of man. In the wisdom of Jesus, or the book of Ecclesiastes, there's a description of the creation of man. It is said that men received the use of the five operations of the Lord, and in the sixth place, he imparted to them understanding, and in the seventh, speech. This contains a fragment of the Egyptian wisdom. The creation of man from the seven souls takes place in the mental for the next life, with speech as the seven constituents. In the mythological text from Memphis, there is an account of Ptah's creation, in which it is said that all the limbs moved as parts of party or company of the gods when he uttered the words of wisdom which came forth from the tongue and worked the blessings upon all things. Speech caused or literally became the making of men and the creation of gods for Ptah. Thus the making of man, qua man, is attributed to speech in his Kamite creation of man as the speaker. The same as in the wisdom of Jesus. This may account for the custom or religious rite performed by the Hindu father who put his lips to the right ear of the newborn baby and mutters 3 times, speech, speech, speech. This gives it a name. The previous souls were only known by totemic types and semi-human sounds, but not by proper names. So I read that to show you the power of the word and what's going on here. Because if we're dealing with throat chakra, we're dealing with the word. We're dealing with vocal. And the funny part about this is, when I was locked up, the cat that put me on to the 5%, my nigga Magnificent, he used to always say, when people start talking about the Bible, he'd be like, well, they said God said this. If he said something, and then he'll point in his throat like, you have to have a vocal cord. He used to always, somehow, for some reason, bring that up. That's how I say this shit is some theatrical type shit, because it's all coming back together. But he used to do that. That was one thing I remember him for saying, always doing that, bringing that up. Like, when they said God said this, you have to have a throat to talk. And now here I am doing this. Now, you have, which way should I go first? When you read Ancient Egypt Light of the World, you will see this phrase that says, come thou hither, which is another way of just saying, come here, or come to me. And we've seen that take place within the whole process. When this, come over here with it. We've seen that take place when remember, this went up, all these went up. That's come thou hither. Well, really, it's like this, when all these absorbed up in the hill, that's come thou, that's one version of it, come thou hither. That would be Sirius calling the 7, telling them to come here so they can create Horus or Heru, the sun. And then when the lightning strike through here, this would be attracting this or pulling this down, come thou hither. And then the process I just explained to take place. Now remember, this is the throat chakra, the word. This would be the come thou hither. So when the earth blows off the sun or shoots off the sun, it'll be as if the oil is telling the earth, come thou hither. So what we're dealing with, this would be the etheric body of the earth. Now, you have two things that happen. I'll give you an example with the baby again. Before the physical baby is shaped or comes into existence in the womb, there's an etheric, invisible double that's there first. That lays the blueprint. Then the physical body comes along and covers the spiritual body. If you go read another book by Gerald Massey called Historical Jesus, Mythical Christ. And they talk about Jesus. It's a point that they talking about Jesus hiding the body or whatever. When they say hiding the body, they talking about him. They talking about the spiritual body being covered with the physical body. The physical body is what hides the spiritual body, which is what's gonna happen here. This would be the etheric body or the spiritual body or whatever the word, and then the earth would come and slide up here, and y'all gotta bear with me, but the earth would basically, well, remember, okay, when the earth was sitting up here with the root chakra right here and the sun right here and the earth getting ready to blow off, remember we got the moon on top. So the root chakra shot its shot out, boom, Mars go up there. Right after that, the earth would shoot off. When the earth shoots off the sun, the moon blows off the the moon will blow off the top of the earth. Now, this is where you get in the Matrix, where you see, I think it was a computer or something told Neo follow the white rabbit. This is where that comes from. The white rabbit is the moon. See, the moon actually looks like a satellite. The moon is a satellite. When we see the moon, we look at it and we see a flat surface. Well, really that flat surface is pushed in. The reason why it looks like it's flat is it really looked like this. But that electromagnetic force field that it leaves behind after it blows off the top, it's like glasses. So when we see the moon, just like I was telling you, the reason why the globes, when you see globes, the globes, they give you the globes with the earth is, with the land on the outer edges on the edges of the earth, when really the land is in the it's actually in the core of the earth or in the center of the earth, not on the edges. That's the atmosphere and shit. But if you was to look at the earth from outside, it would look like that because it'd be like you looking into a crystal ball. So the continents and the land, if you was to look through that electromagnetic force field, it may look like those bodies of land are pushed up against the outer edges of the atmosphere. But the only reason it's looking like that is because you're looking at the electromagnetic force field is manipulating it. So it's pulling it. You're really looking at something that's in the core, but the reflection on the electromagnetic force field will make it seem as if it's on the edges or whatever. Pulls it closer. Matter of fact, it's just like when you go watch Harlem Nights, Red Fox. Remember they always fucking with him about not wearing his glasses. You remember when he put his glasses on, what happened? He put his glasses on, his eye was big in the motherfucker. Like his eyes was on the goddamn glass of the glasses. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what that's what the glasses and shit do. Same thing. So when you looking at, so really the moon is really shaped like a satellite or pushed in. The surface is actually pushed in. But when we look up at the sky, we're looking at it through the electromagnetic force field. So that part that's curved in like this is pushing out and looking as if the moon is shaped like the earth. Cause remember, but really, the moon is kind of like a crescent shape. It's pushed in. Its surface is pushed in or whatever. So the moon is the white rabbit. You have a deity. You have a version of Osiris called Unnefer, and Unnefer's totem type, or his one of the animals they use to represent him, is the rabbit. That's the moon. The moon version of Osiris is represented by the rabbit. So when they say follow the white rabbit, that comes from the earth, the moon blasting off the top of the earth, going to position itself where it's going to position itself to orbit around the earth, and the earth coming behind it. Follow the white rabbit. And if you look at this shit, it looks like a goddamn dove, which is another symbol of the moon. And then, crazy part about this shit, when I drew this, my thing was I was gonna take the blue and just scribble in it, just scribble around in there, but leave some of it white so it kind of give you that earthy feel to it or whatever. And shit, I didn't even do this shit on purpose. I scribbled a little in, scribbled a little on one side, scribbled a little on the other side, and I looked at it. 3, 3. This would be the backbone of the earth. The backbone has 33 columns leading up to the pineal gland, or the base of the brain. I didn't do that shit on purpose. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's some spiritual shit right there. Then so in so many words, this would be like a etheric version of the earth. Now I remember Bobby Hemmett once said, at first the earth was spiritual, and then the physical earth covered it or flooded over it, which is exactly what happens here. The moon shoots us right here or whatever, and then the earth comes and slide up on this one, and this little orb, when the earth slides up here, the orb ends up in the center of the earth right here. By the time the earth get up here, and it be tilting, by the time it gets to its orbit, it'll be tilted, its east axis will be tilted and turning towards the sun, causing the sun to rise. So this would be the spiritual body, or the etheric body, and the earth coming to hide it or cover it up. That's one thing. Now, and where I was gonna go with that? Where was I gonna go with that one? And I need to go back to that Maya shit too. But oh yeah, that's where I was going with. Okay, yeah. So that's where the whole, that's what you call coming forth by day. One of the most popular books that deals with Egypt is called the Book of Coming Forth by Day. Some people call it the Book of the Dead, but that's not it's called the HarMaKhu, which means the Book of Coming Forth by Day. And it's about going through the underworld and doing everything you need to do to basically make it through the underworld and pass on through, or make sure your heart light in the feather, or whatever you want to call it. And that's what I just showed you through the whole process. Everything went up, came back down, went through the underworld, and then the earth shot off the sun, the moon shot off the earth, The earth slid right here. By the time it made it right here, it was tilted towards the east on its axis. So as soon as it hit that spot, the sun was rising, coming forth by day. After you go through this whole process and come back through here, then the earth shoots out into its orbit. By the time it gets to its orbit, it's daytime. It's coming forth by day. Now, I'll show you something else. This would be, we just say the earth sitting on top of the sun would be December 22nd. That's when the earth is at its that's the winter solstice. That's when the earth is at its lowest point or whatever, or its most southernest point below the earth. When the sun is at its lowest point below the earth or whatever. Okay. Boom. December 22nd. Got the sun on this, because on this is what happened on December 22nd. On December 22nd, it's the winter solstice. That's when the sun is right beneath the earth. Therefore, when it starts to shine, it's going to send a ray of light. It's going to shine on the whole thing, but it's going to have one ray of light that goes through the center of the earth, penetrating straight through or whatever. That's December 22nd. 23rd, 24th, then Christ is born on December 25th, right? When the earth gets right here and that sun rises or is born, that's the birth or the rise of the sun or whatever. When you're dealing with the whole thing about Jesus in the tomb, and he rose on the third day. This is Jesus of the light, the Christ. This is the tomb. One way of looking at it, this is the tomb or whatever. They say he rose on the third day. The sun shot all the way up here. Then when it got here, the eastern axis tilted towards the sun, and the sun rose up. They say what they say, when they went to his tomb, the boulder was removed and his body was gone. And this was called the resurrection or the rise. Well, when he gets up here, this is not going to be shining through here no more, because of the earth, because of the movement of the earth or whatever. So he won't be in that tomb right there. He will be rising because the earth gets right here, tilts on its east axis, and turns towards the sun, and the sun rises or resurrects. That's where that comes from. See what else. I don't want to miss nothing. I thought that was dope though, that 33. That shit was right on time. I ain't even try to do that shit. It was just like, I took the blue color pencil and I scribbled over here, and I looked at it, I was like, oh shit. But and then this shit here, this is why, now I see why, more so that the dove is a symbol of the earth. Because when you look at the moon, like I said, remember the moon was a dome on top of the earth, but it wasn't frozen all the way through. It was like the edges, and then it had a little, because remember, it had mountains down here and shit, so it couldn't come too far down. So it was boom. So when it shot out the earth, it looks like a dove or the white rabbit. Those, look at those, it's like rabbit ears or whatever. When doves cry or whatever. So that's where that comes from. How much time we got? I might have to do another video because I got some more shit I want to say. But anyway, that's coming forth by day. Now, when you're dealing with, you go back to the my yacht. This would be my yacht. Oh, no, let me fix it. This would be my yacht in the underworld, or the underworld. You got the wings or whatever. Horse comes down, meets, comes down here, boom, and shoots out through here. The earth goes with it, do its thing. But and we end up with this when the sun busts off the top of the sun. When the earth busts off top of the sun, the go right here, back. Okay. So they say your heart has to be lighter than a feather. This is the light. So many words, what it's saying is you have to raise your Kundalini energy up, open your pineal gland, and come into your glorified body. Same way that light is shooting through the core of the earth, your Kundalini rises through the core of the earth. I mean, through the core of your body, up to your pineal gland. So, and by this happening like this, that means that the sun, the moon, has to have a hole in the middle of it that we can't see. Because remember, the top, everything came out the top up here, and everything came out the top of that frozen, or the earth, and then that dome froze. But then the sun had to pass back through that shell of that moon through the center. So it has to be a hole in the moon that we probably can't see from here or something, or I don't know. But yeah, and that's let me see what else. I gotta come back one more time. This pretty much the last part of the process, but I do want to come back and do like a little commentary or overview or some shit. And bust some, probably throw a few more gems in there. But yeah, so that's how that went down. The sun. Hold on, let me see. And I get a little closer for y'all so y'all can see that 33 I was telling y'all about. I know you probably can't see it. Yeah, that was pretty interesting right there. So yeah, man. So yeah, that's the whole that's where the whole thing with Neo, where they told Neo follow the white rabbit or whatnot, that's where that come from. And shit, man, I think that just about covers it right there. Yeah, but yeah, that's what I say, man. When Bobby said that about the earth used to be spiritual, and then the physical earth flooded, the souls of the earth were already inside the earth, remember, due to the process. But that third one was was probably more so of the vibration that woke everything up when the earth got there, or the ether double of everything on earth and then the earth came and covered it up, and the physical half came to life. But you gotta think about it. Even well, I'll tell you, when this finally gets there, it's sunrise or whatnot. What happens at sunrise? Birds get to chirping, roosters get to crowing, cockadoodling or whatever the fuck you call it, crowing or whatever. That's the throat. So that's a part of it or whatnot. And then this just basically represent that part that was calling everything into creation, which is the voice reuniting or uniting with that which he created, which is the physical earth or whatnot. So yeah, man, that's why I does it. I hope you guys learned something and enjoyed while you was learning. You know, whoever may have watched these videos or whatnot, and shit, man, I'm gonna probably, like I said, come back and do a little overview and get and do a little backstory on what brought all this about. But for now, I guess it's safe to say it's a wrap. But before we go, one more thing. On the wings of love. Y'all ever heard? Oh, Jeffrey Osborne, On the Wings of Love. Y'all ever heard that? That was this shit remind me of. When you look, you got the light in the center. Hold on. You got the light in the center with the wings. So it's like the earth is flying. Oh, that's another thing too. That's what the whole thing about when Neo, I think that was in part 2 because I ain't see part 1. I'm gonna have to, that's the thing on my next video. I'm gonna speak about the Matrix. Might as well, yeah. But yeah, that's like you got the center, then you got the wings, so it's like the earth is flying to its destination on the wings of love. That's a bad motherfucker, that Jeffrey Osborne, man. Y'all need to check that out. But yeah, man. Y'all niggas hold it down, man. And with that said, I'm out. Peace.